All right, so in this section, we're reviewing order of operations. So we start with our vocabulary. So we're going to be working with numerical expressions, and this is a mathematical sentence involving only numbers and one or more operations. The other thing I would add to this is an expression has no equal sign. There is no equal sign. That is, if we have an equal sign, then it's an equation. Now, we'll be adding equal signs between to symbolize the fact that our new expression is equal to the one that came before it. But an expression in itself, when it's written on a piece of paper, does not have an equal sign. All right, so first we've got to talk about powers. And so here's my example of a power. All of this together is a power. 3 to the 5th is a power. Now, the 5 itself, which is part of the power, this is the exponent. It helps if I could spell today, even with it right in front of my face. So this 5 is an exponent, whereas this 3 is our base. And a way to keep that in mind is that our base, anytime we talk about a base, it's what holds everything up. And so our base helps and holds up, in this case, an exponent. So that's just something to keep in mind, how to remember the base from the exponent. So here we're working with these examples. We have 9 to the 5th for our first example. And the thing about exponents is it just represents repeated multiplication. So we have 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so then when we take 9 to the 5th power, and it helps with my calculators doing what I'm wanting it to do. There we go. We hit 59,049. And again, that's because we're taking 9 times 9, which is 81, times 9, which is 729, times 9, which becomes 6,561, times 9, which is our 59,049. So because of that multiplication, it gets to be a big number, and that's just things we have to remember. The other thing is 2/3 cube, or our other example is 2/3 cubed. And so we're going to take 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. And the other day we talked about how we multiply across. So we're going to take 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2, which is 8. And then we're going to take 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3, which is 27. And so our final answer for 2/3 cubed is 8 over 27. And as long as the first fraction is simplified, then the fraction you get in the end is going to be simplified. Nothing's going to be able to go into both. And so that's evaluating powers. So here comes our order of operations. So the main part from this first step is that we're looking for grouping symbols, whether it's the parentheses, square brackets, curly brackets, and fraction bars. And that's one we don't really always think of, but that fraction bar is a grouping symbol. So that's our first step. After we take care of our grouping symbols, then we move on to simplifying exponents or evaluating those powers. And then our third step is to multiply and divide from left to right. It doesn't matter what order it's in. If division's coming before in the problem, before the multiplication, then we're going to divide before we multiply. They are equal in operation. So they are equal operations. And it's the same for adding and subtracting. They're equal operations, and so we just add and subtract from left to right. So here's our first example. And we look for those grouping symbols, and we have them right here, the fact that we have 6 minus 2 inside parentheses. So that's what we're going to start with. 6 minus 2 is 4, and that is cubed divided by 2. So I rewrite everything that I didn't touch. After grouping symbols, I have no more grouping symbols, so I go to my power and evaluate my power. So 4 cubed is 64. And then 64 divided by 2 gives us 32. And so that is our final answer. Example 3, we have a grouping symbol here, and that grouping symbol is the fraction bar this time. So because of that fraction bar, we are going to work the numerator until it's completely simplified before we worry about dividing. So within my numerator, I have an exponent. So I'm going to take 2 to the 4th, which is 16, minus 1 divided by 5. So 16 minus 1 is 15 divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And so there's our simplified expression. Again, I had to simplify everything in the numerator before I could do the divide by 5. All right, our next and last example. When I look through our 5 times 7 minus 4 squared divided by 2, there are no grouping symbols, so I can go to the next step, which is to evaluate our exponents. And so I'm going to keep the 5 times the 7 minus 16, and we're going to divide by 2. From here, we have to do multiplication. After exponents is multiplication and division from left to right. So I start over here, and I see that I have 5 times 7. So I'm going to start by doing that, which gives us 35. But then I have subtraction, so I'm going to keep the subtraction symbol. But then here with the 16 is 16 divided by 2. And so I'm going to go ahead and take 16 divided by 2 and get 8. And then finally, I can subtract 35 minus 8 equals 27. And that's our final answer. And so there's examples of how to do order of operations. So until next time.